It is Wednesday night. You know what that means. It's time for another Auburn Family live stream. It is Auburn Family Night. Let's get into anything and everything that you all want to discuss. Your comments, your questions, and of course, your calls coming up right now. War Eagle Auburn family, War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of E2C Network Live. Here at E2C Network, we share all of the Auburn experience, and we appreciate you sharing that experience with us. It is Wednesday night, as I've already addressed. That means it is a show all about you, what you want to talk about tonight on this stream. Every Wednesday night I say this, and I mean it. It is my favorite time of the week because it's very little work for me. I just get to show up and talk. But I also love it because I get to hear mainly from you guys, and we focus about what y'all want to talk about. So jump in, dive into the show here, especially if you're watching live. If you're watching on the replay, you can do that as well as the best you can. Obviously, we won't be able to interact, but we would love for you to hop in here with us today and talk about these particular topics that I'm sure we're going to be hitting on. March Madness, Auburn basketball in Birmingham. I will be there tomorrow. Spring practice, women's basketball's in the WNIT. The Niffers burger for Cadillac, dish for Cadillac has been chosen. There are so many Auburn things that we could talk about tonight, sports or otherwise. So let's jump into it tonight. As we do that, please do start us off with the show as you normally do. Please do smash the like button. It does help us out, helps people find us, know that we're live, because there's a lot of competition out there now for Auburn attention. So it would help us if you could help us in that way. And also post where you're watching from right now. Use this as your check-in period, your city, your state, international, all of that good stuff is humongous help to us too. Got a lot of familiar faces. Rise Life. Elliot is here. He says, Aubie is the GOAT. I guess you were watching the pre-video before all those things. Spooky Buffalo from Iowa. Brian from Minnesota. And of course, Neil from just down the way. He says, NFL talk? Did I say NFL or something? Or are you just saying you want to talk the NFL? I mean, we can talk about the NFL if you want to. I mean, I know Jamil Dean, Jonathan Jones, and who was the other one that got re-signed from Auburn with their current teams or picked up or whatever? There were like three different ones. I'm Jonathan Jones, Jamil Dean, and I'm forgetting one that got re-signed. Who is it? Somebody help me out there. Gregorio, thanks for being here. Thanks for checking in with us. By the way, I'll go ahead and remind you at the start of the show, we'll talk about it. If you have not signed up for our bracket challenge, first of all, what are you doing? It starts tomorrow. Don't miss out on a $50 gift card from Alumni Hall. You can use it online at their store to get Auburn apparel or other apparel too, if you're not an Auburn fan. So don't miss out on that if you have not done so. Go to the ESPN app, the Tournament Challenge app, and type in E2C Network 2023, and you will find our group there. This is Jim Nance's last time calling the tournament. I'm glad we get to hear him call our game. You know, I'll be honest with you. There's very few names in basketball outside of Dick Vitale that I know, like their Jay Billis. There's one as well, but I more so know like football TV personalities, radio personalities than I knew basketball ones. I mean, I know the name Jim Nance, and I could probably hear his voice in my head right now, but I just can't place the face. So it's not to diminish the importance of that, but to me, it's not, it's not, I don't know. I guess maybe no matter what way I say that, it's going to sound bad. It's not as big of a deal to me, I guess, because it's just not something that I will know what I'm missing once it's gone. Is probably what the best way to say that. He says Jim Nance is the GOAT. Probably one of those voices synonymous with March Madness. We all know. We just maybe don't place it with the person. Brian, that's a great question. I have a confession to make. I had full intentions of submitting that bracket, and I did not hit submit. I had it saved, and unfortunately, this is why it's important for everybody who fills out into our bracket contest to hit the submit button. Because if you don't, you will not be counted as part of that. So I have failed you all. That was a fun little thing that we did together, and I am sorry that I did not hit submit on it. And I know I can go back through and do all of that, get all that figured out for you. But frankly, I got a lot of other things I've got to do in the meantime. So that fun bracket won't be submitted, and you wouldn't want to compete against it anyway. So, what if it was the one that won, which we had Auburn winning, which would be a really good thing. All right, so the phone lines are open tonight. They are brought to you by our friends at All Things Auburn. So please do take advantage of that if you'd like to. Love to see some of your smiling faces. Oh, he's quoting Jim Nance. Hello, friends. Used to call the Iron Bowl in the late 80s and 90s. Well, I was only alive for half of that. Well, more than half of it, but cognizant, meaning I was born in 1987, for those of you that are wondering. So I don't remember a ton of I don't remember any of the 80s probably, but very little of the 90s, at least the early first few years of the 90s. Not much comes to mind at that point. I think Dick Vitale, who's been out a lot this year, right? I think he's going to get to do some stuff. If he does, that'll be really, really good to see him. All right, we got our first caller tonight, so let's go ahead and say hello to him from the Great White North. There he is. Mr. Brian, what's going on, sir?
You didn't submit it?
I didn't submit it, I'm sorry.
I mean,
all that work.
I just called to give
you all that work, 2.5 hours of going through that whole process together. And I failed you.
You forgot to hit submit.
That's it. That's literally.
I just wanted to see how hysterically, I don't want to say bad it would be, but there was some pretty big homerism going on there.
Well, I will say this, though.
It was a lot of fun, but there was some big homerism. Yeah.
I will say this, though. We did this either last year or the year before that, and everyone just went even more wild with that one. So this one at least had some realisticness to it until we started putting Auburn into the Final Four, into the championship. And look, right, yeah. And look, I hope it happens. I hope I'm sitting here with egg on my face, but let's be real, folks. They got to get some issues figured out if they're going to make a championship run.
All for it.
I would be all for it. So how are you feeling about your bracket?
My real bracket?
Yes.
I feel good about it. I'm relying on Kansas repeating, and I don't know if that's a thing, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to pick.
It is.
It just is. It's so much fun. It is the best. I mean, I love football. I'm a golfer, so I love the Masters. Jim Nance is the voice of the Masters.
There you go.
Yeah. But there's no better sporting event or tournament than March Madness, is there?
Amen. It is the best. Football is my sport, right? I will watch that. If you put, Auburn football game and Auburn basketball game, there's no comparison. Right. And I love the event, the pageantry of that 3 weeks in March. It is unmatched. It is, you just can't quantify. It's kind of like when we try to define what it means to be part of the Auburn family. We can kind of tell you what it's like, but you really got to experience. And so that's kind of when someone who asks, who's not a basketball fan or just a sports fan, why do y'all get so up about these brackets and everything? I'm like, try to invest in it, and you will see. The first 2 games last night were incredible. Both went down to the wire.
Right.
Both teams had a shot to win, and that's all you could ask for. I don't know how Fairleigh Dixon and Texas Southern's going right now. I watched till halftime, but so far, so good.
Yeah, and of course there'll be blowouts, but there will always be that buzzer beater and the great upset. Mm-hmm. It just makes it so much fun.
Yeah, and then tomorrow night, I think the last game should be a blowout, but thankfully the game right before it that won't end too much further past that one is supposed to be a pretty good matchup. So I think they were smart in how they stretched everything out a little bit and kind of put, you probably, if you don't want people to tune out at the end of the night, you probably want to put a closer matchup in at the end there. So
yeah, and you're right. It is so hard to define what makes right. Just like the Auburn family one's a great example. People up here ask me why are you an Auburn fan? And I'm like, give me a weekend. Let me take you to Auburn, and you won't go back. So
yeah, all you got to
not being an Auburn fan.
Right. All you got to do is take them first over to Toomer's, whatever flavor version of Toomer's lemonade you want now, and then just go stand them on Sanford Lawn and stare at Sanford Hall for about a good 30 minutes on a probably like a 78-degree day with a slight breeze coming in over the plains with the sunset going down. And then somewhere off in the distance, you can see the stadium. That's it right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, my first experience at Auburn was 2006 Florida. That was the first time I ever stepped foot on campus.
Oh, that's a good one. I was there for that one.
It was a game day day. Game day was there, right? And my buddy who went to Auburn, who moved up here, was like, dude, you got to go to a football game at Auburn. You're going to love it. I'm like, okay. It's kind of turned into a little bit of an obsession now, but I was like, really? We're going to go to game day and then we're going to spend the whole day there? Like, what are we going to do all day at Auburn? But it was a pretty good day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still my favorite game I think I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot of them. Kick Six, both natties.
Right.
Yeah.
Favorite. That's the unfortunate thing. If you were at the Kick Six, there's no way anything can compare to that. But, I would say the 2006 game. Well, I shouldn't say no way. If you were at Bow Over the Top, all those kind of things.
I wasn't at that.
So if you were at Punt, Bama Punt, way back in the day,
I don't think I was born.
But for me, like, we've had similar conversations here before about this, but it's worth repeating again. The 2006 Florida game would definitely be in that list of top 5. The rain game when I was a student versus West Virginia, that would be up there as well.
Yeah. I remember watching that on TV.
Yes. Of course, the Kick Six was a lot of fun. There's a few others I feel like I'm blanking on too, to be honest with you.
Well, the Kick Six was on my 40th birthday.
Oh, man.
And I was there. And I still put, probably because it was my first time there, but I still put Florida ahead of it. It was just so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Kick Six is, maybe it's because it's such a cliche answer that I look for something else.
Yeah.
But that Florida game was epic.
But I think, too, the reason, it may be cliche now because it is such the easy answer, but you have to also understand the context behind why that moment was so important and what it meant for Auburn and Alabama and college football season. The 2006 Florida game, it was a jockeying. Auburn was number 2 before that season. Florida came in as number 2. So there was this jockeying of positions, but it really wasn't like at that moment, this team or this team's going to the national title. It had implications, but end of the season, this team who wins this goes to the SEC championship game. Effectively, if they win that, they go to the national championship game. I mean, it cannot get any better on a crisp fall, almost winter afternoon/evening. And that happened. It was amazing.
Yeah, and I was sitting next to my then brother-in-law, who's a huge Bama fan. He lived in Columbus, Georgia at the time, married to a woman from Alabama, huge Bama family, and the look on his face was worth every penny I paid for that ticket. So
I think that was one of the last times I was able to get into the student section without being a student. They changed their parameters for ticketing and stuff shortly after that, and for good reason, I'm sure. But I got I think I paid probably $50 for that student ticket. But boy, was I so happy to get in there. It was worth it. And
it's hard to believe it was 10 years ago.
Yeah. I was out on a walk this evening. I was sitting here, I just kind of sit in my own head thinking about what do people want to see on the channel and our social media and stuff. I'm like, it is the 10-year anniversary of that season. So we might have to do a little bit of special something for all those things.
And I'll let you go, but I still remember I was going to go to the Georgia game too. And I last minute sold my tickets, didn't go because I back then had season tickets. And so I, then went to the Iron Bowl. I'm talking to my buddy, the one that drug me back to 2006 to Auburn for the first time. And I'm like, he's like, oh, the Iron Bowl's better. It'll be so much more fun when we beat Bama. I'm like, yeah, but it's not going to end like the Georgia game ended. It's never going to be that good. Have fun in Birmingham tomorrow. And I'm still disappointed you didn't hit submit.
I'm disappointed myself, and of course this. So stay tuned to the Patreon channel. I'll try to give you guys some little inside clips and stuff from there.
Sweet. All right, have fun.
All right, War Eagle. All right, we got our next caller on the line. We'll we already got him in. I was gonna say introduce him, but here he is. What's going on, Kevin?
War Eagle, Cal.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring you in that quickly without introducing you, but I hit the button and to switch over to get you ready, and then it said Kevin's coming on. So what's up, sir?
Hey, I think we will go far in the tournament.
I hope so. And here's the crazy thing, Kevin. You know, we love calling you our eternal optimist here, but you may not be too far off from this. Now, Auburn. So think about it this way, everybody, not just for Kevin, but for everybody. Auburn's been this, what we talked about, this close all season to putting something together. If it was going to happen, the odds are in your favor now that it's going to happen. So I would say you, of all people, have a point that they may put it together. Now, does it a national title run? I don't know. But I think if they put together a nice little Sweet 16 run and shock Houston, win their first game, obviously, hopefully, and then beat Houston, that'd be a nice little surprise to end the year.
Then we can win the rest of the games.
I hope so, buddy. I really do, because it would go a long way to making everybody happy and okay with this season, because there's been a lot of disappointment about it.
Make it like 2019 again.
Oh, man, if it was like that again, ooh, buddy, I've already spent too much money going to this particular game, so I don't know that I can afford going to many more.
Sitting at?
I will be sitting in, excuse me, if I remember correctly, I think it's section 215 or 16. So I'm up in the upper deck. I couldn't afford, I'm up with the commoners up there in the upper seats, but yeah.
I'll be watching it on TV.
Hey, listen, that's the smart thing to do, buddy. Don't spend the money like I did to go to the game, but I will not regret it, because this is my first March Madness any game to ever attend.
We might see you at the A-Day game too.
You better see me at the A-Day game, because I'll be there. You need to be there. Everybody needs to be there. It's going to be a fun one.
Some kind of fan fest at 10 a.m. that day.
I saw that. So, yeah, I know you've been asking about that a lot. Are they going to do something similar to that? You saw some of those details released about. Yeah. They've got, hey, if you are not coming to A-Day weekend, you're missing out on a lot, because it's not just the game. It's not just the fan fest. They got the baseball game. They got the statue unveiling at 10 a.m. that day. They've got tennis in town. They've got something else in town too. There's a lot going on in Auburn.
Hey, I watched the baseball game last night.
You did?
Beat Georgia Tech.
They did. Yeah, they did. And somebody else brought that up. I wanted to give them a shout out, because I know they brought it. It was Neil said, yeah, it was a great game last night. Now, the problem is I'm stuck trying to follow March Madness and Auburn stuff at the same time. So I'm literally like switching back and forth. It got tiring.
How's the spring football practice going?
We haven't gotten a lot of information about that outside of just some minor things that some of the beat writers and other media members have been able to attend. Obviously, I don't live in town, or I would go attend some of those for you guys. But to me, it's more speculation than hardcore information. The one thing that seems to be a common theme is that everybody's really impressed with the size variety of our wide receiver and tight end core.
Wide receivers?
Yeah, how like different variations of talent, skill levels that we have are. Does that make sense? You there, Kevin? We might be losing you.
Yeah.
What you got? What else you got tonight?
About the quarterbacks. So
a lot of talk this week about TJ Finley being in the running and maybe even could win the whole thing. It's not that I'm not buying into that narrative or any narrative with the quarterback. It's so wide open right now. I've heard from reliable sources that there's a quarterback that's going to come in at the end of spring when everybody opens up in the transfer portal. I've heard Robbie's the guy no matter what. I've heard TJ can win it. I'm kind of waiting. I'm in a wait and see mode right now for that.
I can't wait when Walker White comes.
Walker White, yeah. So we got a little bit to wait for him, though, buddy. So you might have to be patient a little bit for him, because you got you got to finish the recruiting cycle another spring, and then you'll maybe get to see him on campus, and then he'll probably be behind somebody for a while. So
hopefully our baseball team can win 3 games this weekend.
They need to get off to a really good start in SEC play, just like they did last year. If you'll remember, they got off to a really good start in those series.
We need Cole Foster back.
Yeah, he's been nursing some type of injury. I think it's like a back or shoulder or something like that injury. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but hey, listen, we are getting along just well without him at the moment, though.
I like that Justin Kirby. He's good.
I like Justin Kirby. I like Ike Irish. I like Kason Howell. I like Chris Stanfield. I like Nate LaRue. I like them all. I like Josh Hall. I can just keep Nate. This is a good team, man. It's a really good team. One more thing, buddy. What you got? One last thing for me tonight?
And I hope our softball team beats Oklahoma Saturday.
I love it, buddy. That's a great way to. You just went the whole gamut of the sports tonight. So as always, it's good to hear from you, Kevin.
War Eagle, bye.
War Eagle, Kevin. All right, we got our next caller in. We'll bring you in just a second. Stand by for just a minute. We got callers coming in nonstop. It's good to see. There were some comments that I wanted to come back to, and maybe so we didn't get too far away with them. Which is worse, losing the BCS to FSU in 2013 or losing to Virginia? Oh, I think it's the Virginia thing, just because we had won a national title in football only 3 years prior to that. We had never been to the national championship game in basketball. Like, God, they both hurt, because if Trey Mason cuts to the right, he's gone again, and we win that game. And if referees called double dribbles, we probably not only go to the national title, but we beat Texas Tech, who probably should not have been there. So good question. If you guys have thoughts on that, keep posting them. We'll come back to some of those questions. But let's say hello to our next caller. I don't know that we've ever talked to this guy before. What's going on, Spooky Buffalo? What's up?
How
are you?
No, first time calling. Pretty good. Just figured I'd actually call in since I'm in Iowa.
Love to
with
see
Iowa
it.
Fans.
So, okay, so now I'm just going to sit back and you're going to tell us the game plan against Iowa. So I'm going to let you have it.
The game plan? I have no idea. I'm going to be watching this game with my wife, who's a huge Iowa fan. So,
oh man,
I'll be keeping my mouth shut the entire time.
That's tough right there. When you've got a house divided situation going on. Now, at least it's not Auburn, Alabama divided. It's Auburn, Iowa. That doesn't happen that often.
Oh. No, that wouldn't happen.
I wish I could say that hasn't happened several times in my family. Jessica, my wife, is an Auburn fan. That's where we met and all that kind of stuff. But my mom is an Alabama fan, and my dad was. For a guy who has a YouTube channel about Auburn, you would think there's no way his dad's worse than him. But yeah, my dad was way worse than I am. So the fact that he married an Alabama lady, that says something.
And that my wife and I met, she, of course, she was an Iowa fan, but it was at the Auburn, Georgia game in 2010. And she was with another nurse. She was with another nurse who's a Georgia fan. And I couldn't talk to her at all. It's like, nope, I'm going to hang up. Okay.
Who's this?
This is my youngest.
What's his name?
This is Connor, and my oldest, Patrick, who, yep.
Wow, we got a 3-for on this one. Dang.
I know. Patrick, I took last year for his first Auburn game.
Oh, that's special. I love, I don't have children yet. We hope to have those in the not too distant future. But I kind of watch those moments happen for people, and I'm like, oh man, because I remember my dad, introducing Auburn to me. I can imagine that's special from your end.
There's some things I miss out since I don't live in Auburn anymore.
Right.
So, but hey, he every fall they want to watch Auburn football.
Yeah.
Auburn and Iowa are playing at the same time. They go with me to watch the game and leave them off to herself.
Well, let's be honest. No offense to Iowa football, because I like watching Iowa football because they're one of those weird teams that I somehow connect with, and it's weird.
I do. They have a good running game.
Yes, but that's about it.
I enjoy that. I enjoy good running game. I enjoy good defense. Iowa's got a good defense.
Yes, but they are one of those teams. No matter what year it is, they just do not have a passing game, and they still find success with that, right? Because if you got a great defense, if you can win the trenches, if you can establish the running game, you become a very hard to beat team because you control the pace of the game, offensively and defensively.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
They don't have the last couple of years, this year especially, they had no offense. not even running.
Right.
When your defense puts up more points than your offense.
Yeah,
I think they got more points than their offense this year. So.
All right. So, do you know anything about the Iowa basketball team that you can share with us, or are you just kind of going into it blind like we are?
Going to blind. I, in the past, worked with guys that are huge Iowa or Iowa State fans, and it's always been, they'll talk about the game.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, the year that Auburn actually plays, I'll pay attention a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now here it is, and I don't work for those guys.
Right. So I will say, if this was Auburn versus Iowa last year, I would be very worried, and the year before that, because they had, I don't know if you remember this, a guy named Luka Garza was one of my favorites that they've had recently, and if we played him, we'd be in trouble.
I think they've got a couple players that have filled his spot, but those are some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, literally.
And figuratively, but he was a good player, and I know I was really missed him.
Yeah.
Overall, but I'm excited to watch Auburn in the tournament this year and Gonzaga. My family went to Gonzaga.
Okay, I was like, well, there's got to be a connection there somewhere. I was like, that's a weird one to follow.
My parents went there. My brother went there. My great grandfather graduated with Bing Crosby.
Wow.
No, great grandfather.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So.
Connections just everywhere, man. You got connections to Auburn, Iowa, and Bing Crosby all in one. I don't know how much weirder that can get.
It does. So. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go.
I appreciate you calling in, and I hope we'll see you more often, okay?
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Always good to hear from everybody, but I love hearing from new faces or faces that we don't get to hear from that often. And remember, you don't have to be on camera. I get it. I have a face for radio. I don't know why y'all tune into this channel, first of all. It took me a long time to be comfortable with being in front of a camera. Now I do it so often, I just like, well, they've seen me already. And if they're going to leave, they're going to leave at this point. So I get it, though. There is some sort of like, I don't really like being on camera talking. So you can be off camera. We actually haven't had anybody call in without the camera aspect for quite some time, but it is there for you. Top of the chat. Take advantage of it if you'd love to. It honestly makes it so pretty. If you're on Facebook watching or any of the other places that we stream this out to, you'll have to come to Facebook to get that link, but I'd love for you all to call in. All right, we'll go back through some comments and questions, but if you can, if there's something that you're really wanting me to hit, go ahead and bring them up while we wait to see if we have any other callers tonight. We got a couple of questions and comments coming in. Let me go ahead and just take this opportunity. Normally, we do want to plug our friends at allthingsauburn.net. You see them, they bring the call thing, the call number for you tonight. But just in the essence of reminding you of an important thing, if you have not signed up for the March Madness Bracket Challenge contest, a $50 gift card for you for free. Nothing. Apparently, like it's a foreign concept this year for people to have to not pay to be in a pool, a bracket contest. I didn't know that that was like the popular thing this year. So many people are like, what do I have to pay to get in? I'm like, nothing. You just sign up. That's it. You give ESPN your email address. That's it. So sign up and make sure that you hit the submit button like I didn't the other night and submit that bracket before midday tomorrow. I think noon Eastern time is the first game. Don't wait. Do it now. Do it as soon as you get off this. Don't miss out on this because it's going to be a good prize and a good tournament. Hopefully Auburn fans make it a true home game. And yes, I've been told that we are going to. The problem is that so many of the Alabama fans bought up those tickets just so Auburn fans would have to pay them. I've heard that's a common storyline that's going on around there too. I'll be in town. I'll leave tomorrow morning early to get to the location where I'll be staying with some family and sit down and watch March Madness until we need to leave to go to the BJCC, or excuse me, Legacy Arena, as they want you to call it now. Cody asked on Facebook, how far do you think we make in the tournament? Well, if you're asking me personally, like my bracket has them going to the Sweet 16, and that is me pushing it. Honestly, if I had had more upsets that I was comfortable with in the bracket already, that my prediction, excuse me, then I probably would have only put Auburn into the second round. But I looked at my bracket. I'm like, this is so boring. if I'm not gonna have another one, let me just put my team forward, right? Makes sense. So officially, in my bracket, I have us going to the Sweet 16 with an upset of Houston. Do I feel really good about that Houston upset happening? Well, first we got to win the first one, right? That's the important thing. I don't know. This team has so much potential, and I've seen them do it. Chances are they're going to put it together because they haven't done it a lot this season. I believe in them. I'm just a little skeptical, and I think that's fair to be. Devin says Zepp Jasper's clip is making the rounds of him saying he hopes Bama does well because they are also representing the state of Alabama. Are you talking about Charles Barkley or Zepp Jasper? Did they both have one out there? Yeah, Charles came out and was like basically rooting for Alabama. And he's a commentator and he's trying to be unbiased and said he thinks Alabama's going to win the tournament. And that's an easy pick to make. That's not a wrong pick, but it's an easy pick to make this year. It sucks that that's the reality, but it's the truth. I hate saying that. I just feel sick saying I'm going to go throw up now. Auburn has had so many close games versus good teams. Yes. And I think so. When a lot of people asked why is Auburn in the tournament or why are they even as high as they are, and they're pretty low, they're a 9 seed, the first seed of the lower half. You look at what the committee looked at, how they lost. How many games can you count where they were just blown out? 2. Memphis and Kentucky. And Memphis really wasn't a blowout. I was there for that one here in Atlanta. It was miserable, but it wasn't a blowout like Kentucky. That's it. This is a team that's been competitive and just has not been able to finish. And so the odds tell you that they're going to finish at some point with winning a few basketball games, and maybe now is the time. Miller said that on the court they are competitive and the hate is there, but off the court he likes the guys. Brandon Miller that play for Auburn. Interesting points of views from the players. I think that's a lot of the time in sports too. But I kind of like the ones that make it all about, like Wendell just flat out said, nah, that ain't nobody rooting for Alabama. We just got a location check on where Spooky lives in Jefferson, 45 minutes from Ames. And Ames is where Iowa State is, right? Or is that Sioux City? I can't remember. You fill us in on that stuff. All right, what else do we need to hit tonight? We are sitting at about 33 minutes after 8 o'clock. I will have to end this right at, if not slightly before 9 tonight, because I got to run. But I do want to hear from some of you other ones tonight. If you other ones, I'll have names, other E2C family members out there. So let me know. Rob says, my ex is a Bammer. Reason for the X. Yeah, it's I may or may not have turned down a date or two because of having that association with Alabama. Elliot, good to see you. Checking in. So we got North Carolina, Iowa, Minnesota, Texas, Georgia, Alabama. Who else? Am I missing anybody else that's checked in tonight already? That's a good representation. We've got Midwest. We've got kind of West in Texas. Obviously, the South is covered, most of the South. Who else am I? Dusty's not here tonight, so Linda. We haven't seen. Where has Linda been? Linda Bird. I have not seen or heard from Miss Linda in quite some time. Somebody needs to tell her she needs to get back on this show every once in a while. We need to hear from her. Like people have lives or something, Kyle. Or they can make the choice. And speak of the devil, and he shall appear out of the tumbleweeds of Florida. I don't know if Florida has tumbleweeds. What they got down there? Gators. He shows up when you speak his name. I hope he's ready, because here he comes. Mr. Dusty, what's going on? How'd you like that intro?
Wait, were you talking about me?
So we were just talking about somebody checked in from North Carolina. I was like, man, we've just had everybody checking in from everywhere tonight. And I was like, we haven't had Florida check in. Where's Dusty? He's our Florida representative. And then you show up. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's a physical.
Uh-oh, and he's frozen a little bit. That's an awkward freeze, too. That's one of the best parts about being the host on this is when y'all's phones do freeze. I get in these like, I think I'm just going to leave the frozen picture up there of Dusty. Oh, man. Oh, that sucks. Cam's checking in, says, War Eagle, Iowa's going down. Love to see it. Yeah, the game time tomorrow, 5:50 Central Time. Oh. Devin, do I need to know something? Oh, no. Thank you for telling me that. Did I miss something? No. No. Okay, we'll move on from that. I'll be looking for that message, Devin. Goodness gracious. That frozen face. Yeah, I wish we could have kept that on there. Usually Kevin, when he calls in a lot, he has he gets frozen for a minute, and so we'll get him caught in some of those moments too. But that's the first time I've had Devin. Trying to keep all y'all's names straight. Dusty frozen like that, which was perfect, wasn't it? Anybody want to throw out score predictions tonight? Anybody got any of those? I don't do a lot of score predictions personally for basketball games because they just, to me, they're so hard to predict. Like anybody can throw out a somewhat reasonable, I mean, you can throw out a reasonable basketball score, but for football, it's much easier to throw out, 14-21 or 17-21, because those are very common scores that we all have. The corn growers are toast. Wow, we really trash talking Iowa. One of my grandparents is a Bama fan. Her husband is an Auburn fan. That's why I'm an Auburn fan to this day. Good to hear it. 72-68 Auburn over Iowa, home court advantage. Yeah, I've said this a lot. I want to hear some predictions. If this game's played anywhere else, Iowa or anywhere else, I think Iowa may have the advantage. But I mean, obviously fans wise, but I'm talking about in the game. It could be interesting. Cam's call. I honestly think Auburn will beat Alabama next year in football. Ooh, I'd like to see a little bit more opportunities for improvement before I'm ready to step out there. But hey, listen, if Chris Davis can run 109 yards, anything is possible. All right. Oh, he's out again. I had Dusty on the line, and he went away. Dadgummit. What is going on tonight, Dusty? Kevin gave you some of his connection issues. War Eagle Kevin, I see you. What else we got going on here? I thought I missed a comment or question here. I guess going back to this a little bit. Yeah, I would I'd throw the caution flag on that right now. Now, Alabama's again going through some coordinator changes, so that should play in our favor. It's at home. That's another category in our favor. We're actually going to probably have an offense. That's a category in our favor. I don't think our defense, at least schematically, is going to be much different. I mean, maybe in scheme, yes, but in results, so which would bode pretty well. We had a decent defense. So you may have a point. I just want to kind of see what happens in those first few games before I'm ready. Obviously, I'm going to throw out a season prediction thing, but my point is this. For me, that's a bit of a step out, but I am glad that you have that optimism. Using that T maybe. Well, there goes the T-Mobile sponsorship I was hoping on. I just got that. That was good. That was good stuff right there. I think he dropped. I was going to make a dustbuster joke, but no, that wasn't going to work. WT says 68-64 Auburn wins, but it's going to be a close game throughout. No, I don't think either team's going to blow them out. Here's what I hope. I hope every game is a down to the wire one. When I say that, every game in the March Madness doesn't have to be like last shot wins it. But like, I'm hoping that we're within like a 5 to 6 point spread at the end of each game, because that means there's a hope, there's an opportunity for each team to do something, right? And that's what March Madness is all about. You're hoping the best are in there, which means that they're all going to be competitive with each other. Now, obviously, when you put in a 16 Texas A&M Commerce against, or excuse me, not Commerce, Corpus Christi against Alabama, yeah, it's no contest. But I hope it's good. Good games all the way around. I see a lot of conversation going about Mike Ditka in here. I don't know what I missed the context on that. You're a Panthers fan? Well, listen, I disowned the Panthers once they did to Cam Newton, so not for me, sir. A lot of NFL talking here tonight. What's going on here? Nothing like March Madness. The upsets are epic, and we almost had we had both games last night go down to the wire, and with the team that was behind having a shot to win it at the end of the game. And that's all you can ask for, right? All right, Larry is. Let's try it one more time and see if he can hang on this time. Everybody hold your breath. Hold your breath. I think we're good. What's up?
I had to turn the laptop on. I guess my phone's acting crazy. Probably when I fell off with a work truck and smashed my arm and smashed my phone. It hasn't worked right since.
Wait, I didn't know that's how you broke your arm. That's how it happened?
Yeah. Like the tailgate up, and I'm standing on top of the tailgate and fall. So.
And you just kind of came down and smashed.
Yeah, I mean, I had a decision. It was arm or head, and I, based off of what my dad went through this summer, I chose arm.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm laughing, but I can see, and I've been in those similar moments where you're like, something bad's about to happen. I have a choice that can choose one thing or the other. I'm going to do my best to make this other option happen. So I get that. I hope you're doing okay though.
Yeah, I'm getting better. Florida has this interesting thing because of mistakes that they made, where you have to go every 3 days to refill your pain medicine. So that's kind of been a fun process, just like going back in and being like, yep, still the same arm, still the same thing. You have to redo the whole process just to get your medicine. It's pretty ridiculous.
Well, if y'all stop having, every headline being Florida man or Florida woman, then maybe they wouldn't give y'all so many regulations,
Yeah, I don't see that happening. But to be fair to us, there are a lot of people that have moved here over the past 2 years.
I was about to say, I can joke on Florida because there's so few things else that are not working over there. So we have to take what we can to crack on y'all a little bit.
Yes, sir. How you doing tonight, man?
I am doing good. I am stoked. I've never been to March Madness in person before. And while I will miss, and I'll get to do part of this tomorrow with two people who love March Madness as much as I do, watch the first couple hours, but then we'll obviously have to go into Birmingham Park, get in there. So I'm going to miss that traditional first day. I do nothing but sit in my recliner. I literally legitimately take my recliner and move it up in front of the TV, like from the corner that it's in. And that's all I do. I'm just like, every moment I have to catch this, and I'm flipping back and forth every time. So I will miss that tomorrow, and hopefully I'm missing it for a little while. But it'll be a new experience, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't know what to think, man. I've been saying for weeks that it's like, if this team gets blown out in the first round, I'm not surprised. And if they make the Sweet 16, I'm not surprised. I don't know. I think that at this point, it's all about making your freaking free throws. I think it's going to be a close game, and you're just going to have to make your free throws. I mean, how many games can you point back to this year where you just say, man, if you would have shot over 70%, then you're in there. Mm-hmm. And obviously protecting the ball too. We can't have anything over 12, 13 turnovers, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think free throws, how much I harp on that. We've got to get some consistent 3-point action, I think, to help with some of those droughts we are going to have, so that when the droughts do happen, and they will, they're not as bad. I think if Auburn comes out and establishes itself a lead in each of its game, I think it's going to have an opportunity to be at least at the end of the game having the chance to decide its own fate. Now, if they get down double digits and that lasts for more than 5 minutes, to me, that's going to be hard for them to fight back from at any point of the game. Now, I mean, obviously, if it happens at the beginning of the game, you have a higher chance to do that, and we've seen them do that. But with this team, we know that they go on cold streaks. You have to establish a lead, maintain it, or keep it close the entire game, and it's a lot harder to kind of keep that close as opposed to go ahead and establish a lead. So come out hot, firing, and then do the fundamentals. Don't turn over the ball, free throws, rebound, you win the game.
Yeah, that's one thing, man. That's probably one of the things. I think that Dylan is going to have to probably get a little bit more minutes. It just seems to me like the interior defense is just different. Janai is a heck of an offensive player, but there leaves to be something to be desired when on the defensive end. Teams are just getting. I mean, what was it? Arkansas had 17 points in the paint at some point.
Yeah,
they had made 17 shots. Yeah. They had made 17 dunks and layups inside the paint. They were 17-17, and it's like, man, that ain't. You're just not gonna win. And that's the thing, Kyle, about it is there's so many of these losses or you have where you just say, man, if you're right there, but you do this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know what to expect. I really don't. I don't have hopes or non-hopes, like I'm just gonna turn it on and watch it and see where it falls. It's funny to watch. I will say this, like I thought about the basketball team when the baseball game finished last night, because I said, with this baseball team, like trends are trends. And at some point people just are who they are. And with this baseball team, apparently, unless there is all 27 outs recorded, they're going to fight.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come back. And I'm not saying that the basketball team doesn't fight, but the execution in the clutch is clearly the opposite.
Right.
So
no, I agree with that. I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying. I think it tends into it lends into like belief. Like at this point, it seems to me like with basketball, when the game gets tight, and I know they finished out the Tennessee game. That's the one exception. That really was the Zeb Zasper show. The last 3-4 minutes of that game. But it just seems to me like it's this "oh shucks, here we go again" type thing, where it just starts to snowball. They don't get the rebound. They dribble it out of bounds at the wrong time. Just whatever the case may be. With the opposite with baseball, where they're just like, we're going to come back. I mean, the game Sunday or Saturday night, the finale of the Southeast Louisiana series. That's crazy. Like they almost came back and won that game down 8-2 on the final out. And it's just to me, it's just a mental thing. It's just what the team is made up of at that point.
Yeah. And so that's the good thing this year, right? There's been some seasons where you see an Auburn baseball team, get down and you're like, oh, that's probably it. They might have a little fight, but they're not going to very often come back. You've seen them do this time and time again this season already. So my advice to people, if you're watching an Auburn baseball game, don't sweat it. If you're there, don't leave early. Just something's going to happen. Ike Irish is going to do something. Cole Foster will come back and do something. Justin Kirby's going to do something. Josh, I'm just start rattling off names like I was earlier. Like this team's got so many people that want to be playmakers, can be playmakers offensively. I know there's concerns about, some pitching stuff right now, but I'm not shocked with this. With Gonzo out right now and everything else, I think we've got time to get all that figured out. But right now, the fact that we can produce some runs as quickly as we can, this makes for a fun baseball season.
Yeah, tough one this weekend. I'm actually about to talk to the radio broadcaster for Arkansas here in about 30 minutes and try to scout them out. I don't know anything about them, and I really don't, other than just they're Arkansas and they've probably got a good team. I'm looking at their rotation, and they got 4 guys that are under about 3.10 in ERA, and a couple of them that are under 2. So,
that's about to change after this weekend.
Hey, that's the thing. I mean, Kyle, think about this. We've got Ike Irish and Chris Stanfield for 3 years, brother.
Well, if they don't go pro early, they can go pro at any point.
In baseball, I thought you had to stay committed for 3 years.
Maybe I missed that news, but I thought it was they can go into the draft whenever they want and go and leave. I probably have that wrong, but
I'm almost positive it's if you come, then it's 3. Now you can get drafted after your freshman year, and I don't know exactly how those rights work, because we had some of those guys that got drafted last year. They got drafted 2 or 3 times in their career at Auburn, so I don't know if the player can.
That's what I was kind of thinking of. They can be drafted, but I don't know how it works, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive you got to stay for 3 years once you commit to.
I hope so. I hope so, because I like what I'm seeing, and I'd like to see 3 years worth of it. That'll make me feel real good about what we're doing right now. All right. How about this? Kind of round out your call tonight. I'd like for you to give me a score prediction for tomorrow. And I know it's tough to bring one. And what's your gut feeling on how far Auburn can go? maybe how far do you think they can go? How far do you think they will go? That's two different questions.
Yeah, I don't think we make it out of tomorrow.
That's it? No tomorrow, huh?
No. I think tomorrow will be the final basketball game of the season. And it's just because I think it's going to be close. Yeah. I think that both teams are evenly matched. It's going to be close. Yeah, and I think that we're going to make mistakes within the final 2 minutes. And I don't want to pile on or be mean, but like it is what it is. Wendell Green's going to take the last shot, and he's not going to make it. And until I see otherwise, that's what I'm going to believe, because Bruce made that decision with Walker and Jabari on the floor.
Yeah. And
I thought for sure the other day that it would have been KD Johnson or Flan. And so I just don't like I don't know what Jalen Williams is going to show up, Kyle. If Jalen Williams plays like Jalen Williams, then yeah, we'll win the game. But I don't know if he's going to have 15 points in the first half and then just decide in the second half, I'm not shooting the ball again. So to me, I have zero confidence in this team's intangibles.
And that's fair. Like I've not given you a lot of reasons to think that they can because they haven't, closed out a lot besides a handful of things. So no, I get that. I just think that in this situation, and I think, I don't know if you heard this before you came on, I was saying that if this game is if this game is played anywhere else besides somewhere close to Auburn, I think we lose this game. But I think there's going to be something to this crowd that's going to really fire this team up and get them over this hump. Now, after that, it's just anybody's game, right? You're about to play a number 1 seed after that. This is why I didn't want to be an 8 or a 9 seed. I was praying for the 10 seed.
Right.
But either way, you're going to have to play a good team at some point, even in your first game. Just enjoy it for what it is, man, because it'll be over either tomorrow or in a couple of days or in a week or 2 weeks after that or 3 weeks. We can go on and on and on.
Just being in the tournament. Now it's a two-way thing. So I think that Bruce's roster construction, obviously not his best. And you can get into, the why of that if Chance doesn't get hurt, what in the world's going on with Johan, whatever. But just the job he's done, like on the court coaching this year, has been incredible. Like this has been one of his best jobs because this team is just so flawed. So again, I don't think we're going to win, but if we make it into the Sweet 16 and beat Houston, I'm not going to be surprised. This team is capable of it. If Jalen Williams wants to play like he's capable of, I honestly think that Jalen Williams is an NBA player that doesn't know he's an NBA player. I
like that. That's a good way of saying it. I agree with that. I like that. That's well said there. It's a good way to kind of sum up Jalen Williams. He has all the makings of an NBA player, but he just needs to realize it sometimes.
Yeah. Shoot the ball, dude. Shoot the ball. And my thing with Jalen all year has been, if you miss the shots, if you go 3 for 15, how is that different than anybody else?
That's a good
shoot
point.
The ball.
That's a good point. Hey, I hope we have a good showing no matter what. Let's not throw an egg out there like we did against Clemson.
No.
5 years ago, and trying to remember that.
Yeah, that was the year before the Final Four run, so that'd been 2018.
I don't know. It may have been worth it for that, but it was pretty bad.
Did you know we've won a tournament game every time we've been in it?
You talking about even all of history?
Yeah. Well, at least the last 10, and we've only been in it. This is our 12th time.
Yeah. You may be right on that one. I'm trying to think of all the ones I've been aware of, and yeah, I think we've at least made a run like into more than one game. If you call a run one game, then
only 12 tournament appearances in 117 years, and half of those are basically Bruce at this point. But when we get in there, baby, we get it done. So
that's what you're supposed to do.
I'm hoping and I'm praying, brother.
All right, man. Well, we'll be watching it. Obviously, I'm excited to be there, and I'll try to live vicariously for all of you.
Lose your voice.
I will. Done.
I want to hear you cracking on the next one.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, later, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right. Always good to hear from Dusty. Probably don't have time for another caller, so I'm going to go ahead and close this down. So I'm sorry if you missed the opportunity tonight, but good amount of callers tonight and good calls tonight. Good, thoughtful conversations and different topics that we don't get to hit a lot. So really enjoyed and this is why I enjoy Wednesday nights, folks. I know it's not our most viewed show each week, but it is the one that I look forward to because you all are here, especially the people that are most loyal to us. And I appreciate everybody that comes, but especially a lot of your faces, YouTube and Facebook names that I see a lot. So appreciate you guys being here. Auburn almost always loses to the eventual national champion. We lost and lately, we lost in 2003 to Syracuse and Carmelo Anthony. We lost to Virginia. Clemson we lost to the last time before that. They didn't do much. But yeah. Devin's son's having an Auburn party tomorrow. Awesome. Went back and watched the 2019 New Mexico State game. I remember feeling sick and immediately jumped in the shower because of the sweat after the game. Okay, I think I've hit most of the other conversations back in the back end there. Let's see here. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the show too. I remember when AU lost to Syracuse when Carmelo Anthony was on that team. I do too. I remember where I was. I remember that day vividly. Came down to if you go back and watch that game, if it's available anywhere, the last shot that was made by Auburn made it look a lot closer than it wasn't a last second shot that won it, but the last shot we made, a 3-pointer, kind of made it. I think we were only down by 2 because of that. But anyway, 1 point. Thank you for clarifying. I knew somebody would clarify. All right, everybody, we are going to go ahead and cut it tonight, but I appreciate you all so much for hanging out with. Hang on a second here. Let me just check something here before I close out. Okay, I was making sure. I was like, I might not have to go anywhere, but I do. All right, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I forgot, I should have done this earlier. Let me run through all this real quick. Upcoming shows tonight. Now, I will be on the road, so it'll be tough to figure out if I'm staying for the next game after the Auburn game. If I am, I probably won't get to a live stream, maybe at all, but it'll be really late. But hopefully we will be doing tomorrow an Auburn versus Iowa live stream some point after the game when I can get back in front of a camera. So be looking for that. But our next guaranteed one is the Auburn Experience live stream recording. Episode 28 with Austin and myself. We'll obviously be talking March Madness, everything. Don't miss that, 9 Eastern time on Sundays. You can be a subscriber, a channel member, a Booster Club member. All those things are available for you, and you need to sign up for the bracket challenge. How many times have I got to say it? Sign up. And please do us a favor. I know it seems counterintuitive because you're trying to win. Why would I want to get more people in the bracket pool? There's a reason. It kind of helps us a little bit the more people we get in there. So if you've got an Auburn friend tonight, just text them the link. Say, join this group. If everybody asks one person, we double in size. Well, obviously, that's a duh, Kyle, but either way. Thank y'all so much for being here, hanging out with us, spending time being part of this little family within the Auburn family, and I appreciate you all so much. Excited about tomorrow. Booster Club members, pay attention to the Patreon app. Till I talk to you again. War Eagle.